Hi everyone, welcome. In this lesson we have a new topic. We are going to learn how to identify objects in French using the structure ce plus a form of the verb être. I'm also going to show you how you can use this structure to practice your French, practice your vocabulary, and do what oftentimes French teachers refer to as think in French. Okay, so let's start with the word ce. I'm sure you know this already, or you have at least seen it. So what does ce mean in French? Ce means either this or that. It's what we call a demonstrative to point out something. Ce, this or that. Now, ce is often used with a form of the verb être, which is the third person form which goes with he or she, the il or elle form. And this contracts to c'est. You'll never see ce and a together without the contraction and the apostrophe here. So c'est, and I'm sure you've heard the expression c'est, c'est, c'est. What does c'est mean? Well, c'est means either this is or it is. There's also a plural form, which is ce sont. There's no contraction, ce sont. And ce sont doesn't translate very well literally to English, but it means they are. And we're talking here about using it is or they are to identify objects. So if I'm looking at an object, I might say c'est, and then I would tell you the name of the object. We'll look at some examples in just a minute. If I'm looking at more than one object, I might say ce sont, which means they are. And then I would say the noun for that object. Okay, so before we look at some examples, the question that usually elicits this response is qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Listen to the pronunciation. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? You might want to close your eyes for this one. Close your eyes for a second and just listen to the sounds. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Now open your eyes and look at it again. Qu'est-ce que c'est? So a lot of these words run together when you actually pronounce them. What this literally means is, what is this that this is? This is the most common way a French speaker will ask the question, what is it? If I'm looking at an object and I don't know what it is, or they want you to identify it, they would say, qu'est-ce que c'est? Another way of saying that, asking the exact same question, is to say, c'est quoi ça? Which means, this is what that. C'est quoi ça? Or it's often shortened to c'est quoi. So all of these questions here, these three questions, will elicit a response with c'est, if we're talking about one object. Okay, so what is it? What is this? Again, qu'est-ce que c'est? Or you could say c'est quoi ça? Or c'est quoi? Okay, so now let's look at some examples. If I'm pointing at a dog and I ask the question qu'est-ce que c'est, you would answer by saying it's a dog. In English, what is it? It's a dog. So in French, it's a dog. Remember, just use c'est because that's for singular nouns. And then you have to know the word for dog, which is un chien, un chien. So I'm pointing at a dog and I would say it's a dog. In French, c'est un chien. The whole question and answer would be qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un chien. Qu'est-ce que c'est? What is it? It's a dog. C'est un chien. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un chien. So let's say I point at a cat and I ask you the question qu'est-ce que c'est? Or I could say c'est quoi ça? You could answer by saying c'est un chat. C'est un chat. It's a cat. C'est un chat. It's a chair. Do you remember how to say chair? The chair is la chaise. If you want to say a chair, you would say une chaise. Une chaise. So c'est, put it together with une chaise. It's a chair. C'est une chaise. It's a table. Always begins with c'est. And then a table is une table. So it's a table. C'est une table. It's a house. So let's say you're pointing at a house. You could say it's a house. C'est une maison. It's a tree. C'est un arbre. C'est un arbre. It's a shirt. Shirt is une chemise. C'est une chemise. It's a flower. C'est une fleur. C'est une fleur. So at the beginning of this lesson, I told you I was going to show you how you can begin thinking in French using the information that we learned in this lesson. So you know how to say c'est, it is, and I'm sure you know a lot of basic vocabulary. So this is the way you can practice thinking in French without thinking in another language, only in French, with the vocabulary that you know. So imagine you're at your home and you look at a chair. You know how to say chair, which is une chaise. Ask yourself the question, qu'est-ce que c'est? Then answer it, c'est une chaise. And also practice your pronunciation, practice your speaking. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est une chaise. Now look at a table. You know how to say table, une table. Ask yourself the question, qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est une table. Look at the door and ask yourself the question, qu'est-ce que c'est? What is it? C'est une porte. It's a door. And just keep practicing the vocabulary that you already know. If you come to an item that you don't know, well, look it up and add it to your vocabulary. And in this manner, you can just practice your French, think only in French, and review your vocabulary at the same time. So if you're trying to become fluent, this is one of the ways in which you have to kind of push yourself, force yourself to practice. There's no way around it. You have to practice, and the more you practice, the greater your skill will be. So try practicing your vocabulary with the question qu'est-ce que c'est and then c'est. Okay, so let's continue with some more practice. We're going to do singular and plural. So a singular noun and a plural noun. If I want to say it's a book in French, I will say c'est un livre. If I want to say they are books, remember c'est becomes ce sont. So I'm looking at two books and I want to say they are books. I'm identifying those objects. I would say in French, ce sont des livres. Ce sont des livres. Singular, it's a pencil. C'est un crayon. C'est un crayon. They are pencils. Ce sont des crayons. Ce sont des crayons. It's a house. C'est une maison. C'est une maison. They are houses. Ce sont des maisons. Ce sont des maisons. Remember that des is the plural indefinite article. So a house, une maison, houses, des maisons. It's a car. C'est une voiture. C'est une voiture. One other thing that I didn't mention is normally you don't pronounce the T in a, c'est. Since a vowel follows, there's liaison here. So you'll hear the T sound when a vowel falls. So, c'est une voiture. Normally c'est, but c'est une voiture. If I were to say it's the car, then I would say c'est la voiture. You wouldn't hear the T sound. But since the indefinite article here begins with the vowel, there's liaison, so you hear the T. C'est une voiture. They are cars. Ce sont des voitures. Ce sont des voitures. It's a bike. C'est un vélo. They are bikes. Ce sont des vélos. It's a phone. C'est un téléphone. They are phones. Ce sont des téléphones. So remember, to identify an object, use c'est to mean it is. Use ce sont to mean they are. That's it for this lesson. Thanks so much for watching. If you found it helpful, I would appreciate it very much if you'd give it a like. To continue learning French and go on to the next lesson, click on the video that appears here on your screen. See you soon. À bientôt.